Vegas, Nevada. It's the final round of the AMA Supercross Series. Hello, everyone. I'm Art Ekman along with Dave Despain. Not too much mystique in this stadium here tonight, as both the 125 and 250 crowds have already been secured. But jobs are on the line.
I think so. I don't think that anybody's in danger of having to hold up the sign that says we'll race for food. But I do think that, for example, Jeff Stanton is under a lot of pressure here tonight. He last won in this stadium a year ago, demonstrated that he still has the stuff that made him three-time champion. Unfortunately, we haven't seen that stuff lately. Michael Craig, same story. Got the big ride with Yamaha, replacing Damon Bradshaw. Huge career opportunity at the age of 25. Won early in the season, but same story. Michael, what have you done lately to keep that job?
One of the most unique items is one that we haven't seen the likes of since the Los Angeles Coliseum days.
Leave it to Las Vegas, the city that brought us the Knievel family, successfully and unsuccessfully trying to leap the fountains at Caesar's Palace, to come up with something like this.
They call it the Kamikaze Jump, Dave. Indeed, Art, and the construction was a pretty interesting process. Rest of the racetrack is pretty unique. Over on the right, that's where the unusual stuff starts. Here's Rick Miller to tell us about it.
The idea came to us about 3 years ago when we came up with an idea of what would be more spectacular. The floor is unique in itself, that it's as long as the Super Bowl, but what can you do with it? It's real narrow. Well, the idea came, let's launch them up and over the locker room here and see if they could come back in with the same height. Well, it finally came to reality this year. Well, many years ago, the idea of coming up with a big, tall jump was done, but they ended up using scaffolding. It doesn't have enough, structure there to really hold the weight and the jumps and stuff. So the only way to do it, financially, was go ahead and put some flatbed trailers up there. So you look at some 22, 27-foot, 40-foot to try and get the angle and the ramp size, and the approach to how far they're going to jump. So we've got a selection here of 22-foot trailers that we pulled out of the Navy. We've got every other flatbed trailer, 40-footers that Las Vegas has on site here. And we ended up putting 2 on each corner, going up and down on each side, along with about, I'd say there's about 75 house-moving jacks under the roof in each of the locker rooms, just to keep the flex from having any effect to the concrete roof.
The fans love it, and most of the riders found it interesting. They like something different each time.
I like to see different stuff. I don't know if I'd want to see the same thing every week. That'd be the same, but to have different stuff and experiment, it's good for a change.
It's a lot of airtime, but the thing is the second jump is really peaked out. It's almost like a wall. And, so we pretty much have to jump all the way over it.
Supercross qualifying from Las Vegas when we return.
This is a 1-800-COLLECT call from...
Hey, this is your son, Jeremy. Your son, Jeremy. Trying to be funny? I've been eating pretty good. Doug and I were just hanging out. Cheese. I'm not an actor. What am I doing? Jeff's doing good. He says to say hi. Hi, Dad. Steve says to say hi. Hi, Mom and Dad. Say what? I think we're going to take it tonight. No, I'd rather have it on your bill than mine. I'm getting ready to go race right now. Mom, guess what? We just won the championship again.
As we get set for the qualifying heat, the first 4 finishers going directly to the main. The rest moving on to the semifinals. We get set for the first qualifying heat for the 250s. And I do mean heat, Dave.
Heat race is the appropriate nomenclature here, Art. I've heard estimates as high as 117 degrees. Thermometers all over town in triple digits. In any case, it is hot out here.
Lampson the whole shot, but look what happened to the Kawasaki riders. First of all, Kudrowski goes down, and then watch number 7 on the left. Whoa! LaRocco went head over heels in a very difficult and technical whoop section.
Known for their bad starts, the Kawasaki's end the season just the way they started it.
Lampson, the whole shot is out in front. Here's Brooks with a good ride. Matasevich, 21. Swink, number 10. And Larry Ward, number 11. All with good starts. But again, LaRocco has trouble as Phil Lawrence, LaRocco, and Kodrowski got tied up.
Well, they're going to the semifinal. Obviously, just a disastrous qualifying race here for the green team. And remember, this is the battle for second place in the series points.
On the right side, number 21, Jeff Matasevich goes out on the whoop section. Brooks holding on to a true line, and Larry Ward moves into third.
Tough racetrack, as you can see, particularly those very technical whoops. If you get the front end a little out of line, you're in big trouble.
The riders in the first three positions held true. Lampson, number 4, Brooks, and then Larry Ward. The real battle was for the transfer spot with Swink and Buddy Antunez. Swink, number 10 right here. Buddy Antunez, the privateer, number 50. It was a real bar-banging battle that Swink took advantage of. Lampson got the checkered flag.
Was Swink protecting the inside? You bet. Pulling the covers off the hay bales to keep Antunez from getting around.
So Lampson wins the first qualifying heat with Brooks, Ward, and Swink going to the main event. That leaves LaRocco, Kodrowski, and also names like Matasevich, Lewis, and Stevenson going to the semifinal. Let's hear from Lammy as Jerry Bernardo talked with him.
Yeah, he's got a good start, didn't look behind, and smoked away from the guy. So I'm going to do it in the main event, too.
Taking a look at our highlights from heat number 2 in the 250 qualifying. Emig, a great start, pole shot. Jeremy McGrath is right there. Michael Craig, as well as Jeff Stanton. Stanton, number 5. Craig to the inside, number 19.
Looked for a moment like Emig was going to make this whole shot stick, but Jeremy's got the right line. Just a nice, gentle block pass with no contact, which you always look for between these two, and McGrath set sail.
The one thing the qualifying rounds showed us early was that if you get out in front and can get through the whoops, you've got this race made.
Emig with a mistake there, just overshot his line and left number 5, Jeff Stanton, to go by. Stanton, who won this race a year ago, looking to finish his season with some sort of a bang.
While Jeremy McGrath was able to pull out a 6-second lead, we had a real battle in the second qualifying heat between 5 and 6, Stanton and Emig.
Emig doesn't want to give that spot up. Stanton wants to demonstrate that his sore back, injured a couple of times this year, is back in good shape. Nice move here by Emig. So smooth over the triple and just left Stanton behind.
Out in front, as accustomed, this year anyway, number 1, Jeremy McGrath.
Yeah, doing the knack, despite the fact that he's got a bad cold. But watch this. I'm so far ahead, I'll just stop and stall my motorcycle and start it up again and never lose the loop.
And that's exactly what he did. Emig would nail down second, but here was the real battle for the transfer spot. Henry and Craig. Henry had banners in his wheels as McGrath goes over with the checkered flag, and Henry will take the final transfer spot.
Not enough banner there to cause a problem, apparently. Those things, of course, can get into the brakes and stop you in a hurry, but Henry's going to hang on and take that spot, and that'll send Michael Craig to the semifinals.
Craig, Lusk, Button, and Palmer back from an injury, having to go to the semifinals. It's McGrath, Emig, Stanton, and Henry going directly to the main event. Let's hear from Jeremy.
Yeah, how's the track out there?
Track's good. It's nice and dry, and you know, actually, it's good. It suits me good.
It's about 117 at practice today. Now it's like 90-something. Is that a factor?
Actually, you know, my feet are pretty hot. When the heat's baking you like that, it may look cool out here, but it's definitely not. It's hot as heck.
We see here the Kawasaki team, not a very happy bunch, as their mechanics were busy readjusting the machines for the semifinal rounds after getting bent up pretty good during the qualifying round crashes.
There was somebody in between us. I think Lawrence didn't make the triple, and he cased it and kind of got out of control and went straight and took me out.
Everybody went down?
Yeah, Mike. I think he hit him when he cased, and then that knocked him into me, and we all went down.
Yeah, I kind of got pushed out on the start. I was up there probably the top 3, and just before I hit the step-up jump, I got pushed out and pushed off the track, and I came back on as soon as I could. And then I was working up through the pack doing pretty good, and me and LaRocco, and I think maybe it was Phil Lawrence or Mike Fischer, went off the triple, and the other guy, he cased it, kind of landed short, and then I was right behind him. I had so much speed landing on the downside and hit his back wheel, and it kind of swapped me out, and I fell. And then he shot right into Morocco, and they both went down. So
Next, 5 more riders from each semifinal round will try to make it to the main when we return to Las Vegas. Welcome back to Supercross from Las Vegas, the final round of the year. As we show you highlights now from the first semifinal round of the 250 action. It was not a pleasant sight there as Morocco was held up. Phil Lawrence going into the hay bales, and Denny Stevenson coming over to help get the bike off of Lawrence.
And in Lawrence's case, he held up Mike Kudrowski a little bit, and so the Kawasaki team continued to struggle. Remember, coming into this race, it was a battle between Morocco and Kudrowski, number 3, who's going to get tangled up right here with Todd DeHoop. The tangle between those two for second place in the championship, and so far, neither of them are in the main event.
Jeff Matasevich got the whole shot with Kyle Lewis 53 and 36 Sean Kalos. Also, we had Young and Mike Fischer with good starts.
Fun for these guys like Young to get up there and race with Kudrowski and the Kawasaki's, although I guarantee you Kudrowski wishes he were somewhere else at the moment, notably in front.
Here's Lewis 53 after a good start, and Sean Kalos does a great job of cutting inside and giving him quite a match for second place, taking second place early in the race.
Morocco coming up from behind will challenge Kudrowski as Kalos makes a nice pass there.
Kudrowski would eventually move into third right here with only Sean Kalos in front of him. But Chicken establishing a good lead out in front in the semifinal round.
One of the knocks on the racetrack is that it's pretty easy, and so the guy who gets out front can open up a big lead. Here's Kudrowski's move on Kalos that'll move him into second spot.
It's not all that easy to make up time, as we see, and especially if you're held up by some of the other riders and allowing that guy out front to pick his own line and his own pace.
Big move by Morocco there to get around Kyle Lewis. He set that up very nicely. Gave Lewis the inside, did the big momentum thing around the outside, tripled, and got the pass.
This was not a great day for Kyle Lewis. Sean Kalos is passed, but he's still in the top 4.
Morocco showing the speed that we've seen so much this season. He's just constantly having to pass people.
Jeff Matasevich out in front, racing toward the checkered flag. Real battle was for the transfer spot, and that was nailed down by number 25, Mike Fischer.
Nice to see Fischer make, what, his second main event of the year, I believe.
Matasevich leading this parade to the main event as Young, Lewis, DeHoop, Stevenson, and Antonez, some of the names that didn't make it, will have to go to the last chance qualifier. Here's Chicken.
Yeah, I felt real comfortable out there this time. On the first qualifier, I had some bad luck, crashed. Put it together for this one, hopefully the main event. I'll be able to keep it on 2 wheels and end up on the podium tonight.
Highlights from the second semifinal round for the 250s. Now as we see Michael Craig get a great start, along with Brown, Lusk, Taylor, and Button.
Brown, Lusk, Taylor, and Button. Sounds like a 125 race to me. A lot of guys here that have moved up to the 250 late in the season, trying to get some experience for next year.
And Michael Craig out in front, number 19. Handles it pretty well. Brown is 92 with Lusk on the trail. And Lusk will eventually do a nice job in passing him into second place after a fine battle.
Look how Lusk does this. He just keeps after him on the outside, finally finds the line through the whoops that Brown can't match. Ezra takes off after the leader and leaves Taylor in the clutches of these guys.
Taylor, 35, now has the battle with Jimmy Button, 34.
Big, tall Jimmy Button just scooting by as they head back to the Kamikaze thing here.
Interesting thing about Kamikaze Jump is those that aren't experienced, you're jumping blind coming off that locker room.
Pretty dark back there, and for a lot of guys, you know, it's a new experience. Of course, some of the veterans here raced the old LA Coliseum course after which this was sort of modeled. Button would be too young for that.
Later in this second semifinal round, there would be a close battle with Ezra Lusk, testing Michael Craig out in front, but the order would remain the same.
He's trying to get up close enough to put a little pressure on, force a mistake. That, of course, has been the downfall this year for Michael Craig, making those mistakes, often while running in front.
It brought the crowd alive until Ezra made the bobble in the whoops.
He was right there where he wanted to be, couldn't quite pull it off. I'm sure Ez was pretty frustrated, not to mention hot and sweaty.
So the 5 riders advancing now to the main event from the second semifinal round: Craig, Lusk, Button, Brown, and Taylor. So guys like Dubach, Gaddis, and Palmer had to go to the last chance qualifier.
Mike, you had Yogi Lusk hot on your tail in the waning laps of that heat race.
Yeah, you know, he's a real good rider. I hate when people talk about a guy moving up to 250 class because he's by far the best 125 guy, him and Button. And, you know, I mean, when they move up to 250 class, it's like a big step.
Yeah, let's talk about you. Let's not talk about those guys.
Yeah, you know, the heat's getting to me a little bit, but, hey, you know, that's 20 other guys got to deal with it. But, I don't know. I mean, I feel good. My Yamaha's working really well. So I'm looking for a good start. I think I rode a lot better that race than the one before, so I'm looking forward to having a good race.
Hometown native Jimmy Gaddis and Denny Stevenson advancing out of the last chance qualifier. Many times we hear riders like Larry Ward here talking about their arms pumping up. What do they really mean by that?
I get a little nervous, and the whoops are really tough here, and they were making my arms pump up, but, you know, you come back for the main, and you're a little more relaxed, and you don't seem to have that problem in the main.
Arm pump is just a lack of preparation before they race. What happens is they don't properly prepare the tissue, and so the body produces waste product, lactic acid, and it also increases the blood flow. When they get on the line, they're going all out. And these riders just, you know, if they don't take care of it ahead of time, the body can't circulate it out fast enough, and what they get is it fills up in the tissues, and they get that pumping feeling.
I don't understand it, you know. And once you start pumping, your mind's on it, and then you're done because you can't stop thinking about it.
I think that's, you know, if you're not comfortable on your bike, if you're not comfortable with the track conditions, you're not going to be riding good, so then you're going to be thinking, oh, man, and then you start thinking, oh, my arms are pumping up, and then it gets worse and worse and worse to where you can't even hold on.
What I do with the riders before they get on the track is I try to make sure that the body is doing the job before they get on the line. Instead of making the body do the job after they start, you know, I get the muscle flowing, the muscle with the blood flowing, and the lactic acid flowing and circulating out, so that the body is just prepared for the onslaught the riders are giving it because they're going so all out. You want to make sure that you warm up within 15 to 20 minutes before you race. If you wait longer than that, but your muscles have a chance to cool down, all the nutrition and blood flow you got going in the muscle is kind of wasted. There's no really way to say that you can't cure it. It's just if you take proper preparation, you're going to be able to take care of it. If you're riding good and you're confident you're riding and you're not going to death grip it, you know, you're going to get rid of it. You need the help of somebody to, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be me, but you need the help of somebody to really take care of the muscles, help you warm up the forearm before you start. That's your key problem.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada. Art Ekman along with Dave Despain and Jerry Bernardo as we get set for the 125 main event. We saw number 20. He's already been declared the champion of the 125 West Division. Damon Hoffman securing that title in San Jose last week as the riders get set now racing for more than just pride. These are the potential superstars of the future, and they want to showcase their talents, Dave.
Also got some point positions to be determined here. Second place in the championship, very much at stake here between Pedro Gonzalez and Craig Decker.
Off the gate, and it's Hughes, number 22, with the whole shot. Oh, they go down. Jeff Pastana, number 63, who was a fifth-place finisher at San Jose, one of those involved, and reaches 128, 192 Spud Wallers. Out in front, Ryan Hughes. Hughes with a pole-to-pole victory in San Diego, and his last win was in Seattle, so he has 2 victories on the season. Damon Hoffman is really hounding now Pedro Gonzalez. Gonzalez, Hughes' teammate, in second place. Pedro Gonzalez with a good year going. He won the last race in San Jose.
And with that start tonight, Art, he becomes odds-on to claim that second spot in the standings, but number 20 is going to be all over him.
Once again into the dangerous whoop section. Gonzalez, though, holding him off pretty well as Hughes just out in front.
Pedro has developed so much maturity during the course of this season. He's come a long way from the kid who came up with the pickup truck from Mexico to try to make a name in American racing.
First of all, he had to cure bad starts and then be able to fight in traffic. And now just improve his technique, really.
He's sandwiched between the two best on the West Coast right now. Damon Hoffman, who had some fairly nasty things to say about Ryan Hughes last week. It's going to be interesting if those two hook up to see how much slack Ryan will cut him. Not much, I'll bet.
Well, both riders with 2 wins on the season, but Ryan Hughes, of course, having to deal with the passing of his father. Also, a big crash in Texas put him in 18th, which really took him out of the points race.
You're stronger, Team Suzuki tells Hoffman. And now's the time to prove it, because in this heat, strength is a very big issue. Not just having the strength, but conserving the strength.
Pedro Gonzalez in second place with Hughes. His teammate just out in front. Pedro challenging Hughes a bit.
Is it hotter where Pedro comes from than it is in San Diego where Hughes lives? Probably not enough to make any difference.
It's even that hot in Monterrey, Mexico, let me tell you.
You're looking at about 100-degree track temperatures as this thing gets underway. Look at Hoffman.
What a great 3-way battle. Hoffman taking the outside now. Puts the challenge to Hughes. Noses into second place. Hughes with a change of lines right there to shut him down. Pedro Gonzalez out in top. What a great 3-way battle.
A moment of truth for Pedro. Can he hold on? No. Hoffman through there like a bulldozer, says, I'm going to the front.
Hoffman taking the lead for the first time. Hughes in second, Pedro Gonzalez in third. Pedro gaining a bit of confidence after the win in San Jose. Is hanging in there well, though. While the top 3 battle it out, Decker and Pingree move into the top 5. We'll be back. Welcome back to the final Supercross event of the year. This is the 125 main before the 250s get going. And right now we've got Damon Hoffman out in the lead with Ryan Hughes hounding him. Number 22 taking the lead on the inside, right above the locker room.
Terrific battle. Most of the fans can't see that. When they went back out of sight, it was Hoffman with the lead. When they come back into view, it is Hughes. And so the two camps are hollering it up here in Las Vegas. Terrific battle between these two kids, and a bit of a grudge match, too.
And Pedro Gonzalez, number 86, you see in the very background there, number 141 coming through the hoops. And that's Decker. Decker has picked up some time on Gonzalez. Hughes and Hoffman battling back and forth. Hoffman just a little bit short on the triple as he tried to triple and Hughes doubled, but Hughes gets the edge at the corner.
It's a gamble. It's a high-risk move. When you go for that triple, you got to make sure you get past the crest. Otherwise, it'll slow your momentum on the landing instead of increasing it.
In the 2 wins that Hughes has this year, once he's gotten the lead, he's been able to hold it through a lot of rough conditions. Well, he's been challenged here tonight, and Damon Hoffman, he wants to win that final race of the year.
I don't know whether Hughes would have watched Moto World last week and heard what Hoffman had to say about him or not. Wasn't very complimentary. Hoffman alluding to the fact that, oh, yeah, Hughes has been falling down in front of me and messing me up all season, and I'm just way faster than the rest of these guys, and, you know, I should have had this championship locked up a long time ago. If I were Hughes going to the last race with the championship all decided, I would have one thing in my mind. I would want to lap Damon Hoffman. I would want to demonstrate to Damon Hoffman that he's not even in my league. Now, I don't know that Hughes feels that way, but based on what's happening right now, I think he's doing pretty well.
Pedro Gonzalez, a little bottle of the whoops, and number 141, Craig Decker, who's been on the podium 3 times, has moved into 3rd place.
That's a huge pass for him. If he can hang on to 3rd, he will be 2nd in the championship behind Hoffman. He needs to consolidate on that position.
Ryan Hughes is not giving an inch to Damon Hoffman. He's riding hard through the whoop section. Hoffman is really unable to pick a spot where he can cleanly pass Ryan Hughes.
He needs to be another bike length closer to really pressure Hughes. Hughes knows he's back there at this point, but he's not seeing that front wheel, and that's what puts the pressure on. When you get up there, he hears that engine revving right behind you. You feel the movement. You see the shadow. You see the wheel come up alongside. That's when you're going to pressure the mistake. Again, the encouragement from Team Suzuki, get up there, put some pressure on him.
Meanwhile, Ryan Hughes darn near flawless as he goes up toward the Kamikaze Jump on top of the locker room.
Art, I'm not quite clear on this. Is that the home or the away locker room? UNLV or the visitors?
Well, from the looks of the inside, Dave, I hope it's the visitors. For the Rebels opportunity anyway. Here's Hughes out in front. Damon Hoffman not quite as close coming off that jump.
I'm a little surprised at that. One thing you have to consider here is heat. Which of these guys is going to handle, oh, here he comes. Which of these guys is going to handle the temperature best? This is a very draining event.
Hughes takes the outside line this time.
Looks like Hoffman had something going for a moment. Hughes responds very well, and again, maintains that interval of a couple of bike lengths. Hughes in control of the race. Hoffman not doing what he needs to do to force the mistake and make the pass.
As we watch Hughes gain a little ground on Hoffman, Gonzalez now is picking up on Decker for third.
I would be perfectly willing to accept the premise that Hoffman may be saving his energy, may be happy to let Hughes get out there, set the pace, worry about how fast to go. Hoffman, in reacting to Hughes, may be able to save some strength for the end.
We'll be back with more 125 action in a moment. Welcome back to 125 action in the main event here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ryan Hughes, number 22, and Damon Hoffman. Hoffman puts on the accelerator. Here comes Hughes back again as they go up over the Kamikaze area.
Well, they traded triples there. Hoffman looked like he was on the charge as he went by on one triple, but then Hughes was all set up to do the next one, and so he came out maintaining the lead. But this is pressure. This is Hoffman letting Hughes know he's there and he wants a round.
One slight mistake now by Hughes, and Hoffman will take over as they cut through the lappers on the whoops.
Ooh, bobble there for Hoffman. He got the front end down when he wanted it up, just about went over the handlebars.
But comes storming back at Hughes. This fight's not over with yet either.
No, I think this is going to go all the way to the end. And again, I tend to believe that Hoffman may be trying to save something for the finish here, for the last couple of laps, because in this heat, it's just very, very difficult to run the entire main event flat out. You've got to save something. And my theory would be that Hoffman probably has saved more than Hughes.
Ryan Hughes and Damon Hoffman have staged a great race here in the finale of the 125 West season.
That mistake cost Hoffman a lot. It's taken him a long time to gather that, 10 yards of racetrack back in. See the gap? This is probably the biggest advantage that Hughes has had during the entire race, and it could be that that was a crippling mistake for Hoffman. He may not be able to regroup.
Hughes and Hoffman, and a lapper in between. You know, I'm really astonished today that the heat hasn't taken more of a toll with such a great battle out front.
Motocrossers are in terrific physical condition. You have to be a front runner in this game. And so, yeah, it's a whole bunch hotter than they would like it, but the basic strength and endurance are already there. This is just a little more of a test than they're used to.
Hoffman is closing up once again on Ryan Hughes.
He's got this section right here wired. He does that first jump so well. Gets a lot of speed down off the exit, and that pulls him a bike length closer every time through there. I think the key to this race may be as simple as how Hughes responds when Hoffman comes up and puts the heat on.
Hoffman did have a fall in the qualifying heat, but came back for a second place behind Hughes. Decker, incidentally, was the winner of the first heat. Well, they were lucky that the lapper that went down didn't happen right in front of them, Dave.
Well, that's one of the concerns you have when you're running so much faster than some of the back markers, Art. You've not only got to worry about the guy you're racing with, you got to worry about all those guys you're racing through.
Here comes Hoffman once again in the same location, wheel to wheel, as they go up onto the locker room.
He got the better of it that time. Closed up, could get the inside here. This may be it. Hoffman making the move we've all been waiting for.
Nice move by Hughes. Hughes coming down. Where's Hoffman? Hoffman tangling on the way down. Hughes is going to have a big advantage now. And we've also got a battle for third right here. Pedro Gonzalez getting into a battle with Decker.
This is for second spot in the championship, handlebar to handlebar. And here's the irony, Art. By my arithmetic, if they maintain this position, they'll end up tied, dead even on points for second.
The tiebreaker being the number of victories, and Pedro Gonzalez winning in San Jose for his lone victory. Decker with a second place and 2/3.
White flag. Hughes is home free. That tangle with a lapped rider has cost Hoffman the opportunity to back up the claims that he made a week ago about Hughes' riding ability and win this season's finale. It's all Hughes from here.
I think you got to hand it to Ryan Hughes, though. He met the challenges by Damon Hoffman throughout the entire race.
Every time Hoffman came up and put the pressure on,
Hughes was able to respond. Might he have been able to do it the last couple of laps? Had Hoffman saved something? We'll never know.
A great race for Ryan Hughes. This has to be going down in his book as one of his best ever. Well, down in Monterrey, Mexico, they call number 86 Speedy, and he's sped his way into the points race beautifully, taking second this year in his second year in the 125s. A happy Ryan Hughes. The victory of the 125 Las Vegas Supercross. Damon Hoffman coming in second, with Pedro Gonzalez in third. Taking a look at the official results now, you notice David Pingree in fifth spot. That's his second best finish of the year. He's had 2 fourth-place finishes, one at Anaheim and one in San Jose, as we round out our top 10 125 riders.
Yeah, I just got a good start, tried running my own pace. You know, Huffman was riding strong, but I felt a little bit better in shape, you know. I rode good, so, you know, I'm happy. I'm happy for all my friends coming out here. Happy for my mechanic, Chad Watts, and the whole Split Fire Hot Wheels Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. The volunteer, everybody. Thanks.
Hey, good job. Unbelievable race, though. How was it? Dyson a little early in the beginning, but then you got out front.
Yeah, I just tried staying my own lines. Huffman passed me a couple times. I passed him back, but, you know, I just rode smooth and did good.
You must have done good because you won, kid. Good job.
That's 3. That's it. Thanks.
Ryan Hughes, the winningest 125 Western rider, but Damon Hoffman takes the championship. Let's go to Jerry.
Okay, Damon, you and Ryan Hughes put on one hell of a show up front there, 1 and 2, back and forth early in the race. It was quite an oddity on that little double class thing, but tell me how the race went for you. You guys were going off.
You know, it was a great race for the crowd and all, but I kind of like to get out in front and just pull away. You know, it's always a lot easier, but, you know, Rhino's a real good rider, and he's real aggressive, so I kind of held my ground, and when I got next to him, I tried to make the moves, but, you know, then that fortunate accident happened. So.
No inflammatory interviews tonight, Art. It's hot enough in Vegas as it is. You saw the sweat. Hoffman will be back to defend his championship. Gonzalez will be there, and perhaps Hughes, too, to make it tough for him next year.
Well, despite having a 125 title locked up, we saw a great race, and we expect another one coming up with the 250 main. It is the 250 finale for the 1994 season. Defending champion Jeremy McGrath, with the #1 plate from last year, has already secured the 250 title for this year. And it is Jeremy with the great break. He will get the whole shot. #1 out in front. Look out. This track is his kind of track. Privateer Yamahas, 21, Matasevich. Then the factory man, Craig, #19, on the trail. Then the red Yamaha #8 is Henry. He's doing battle right now with Michael Craig.
Laraco got a bit better start this time. He's 5th behind this group and headed for the front, but the race is for second as Jeremy got the whole shot, and boy, he has split. Look out. They may have seen the last of him.
Craig and Henry behind #21, Jeff Matasevich, as they come off the Kamikaze Jump. Matasevich, a true privateer this year, has had a decent year.
His determination to get back a factory ride was the motivator. The big rumor here this weekend is that he's lining up some kind of a deal with KTM. Nobody's making any comment officially about 1995.
Jimmy Button off the course, #34. And here comes Mike Laraco, sailing over Doug Henry. Henry's teammate, incidentally, Lampson, is way back in last place here on the first lap. Craig and Laraco battling it out. Craig taking the advantage here. Oh, good fight there.
Bad deal for Lampson. He talked at the top of the show about how optimistic he was for the main event. Look at Laraco carving through the traffic.
Laraco, second places in the first 2 events of the year. Things looked great for a points race at that time, and then he ran into Anaheim, where he crashed, cased it, a 20th placement. Put him really out of the points race for the rest of the season because of Jeremy's consistency of staying on the podium.
Speaking of Jeremy's consistency, that's what we're looking at, isn't it? Look at the lead that he's built over Laraco. This is incredible this early in the event. I mean, we're used to seeing these things handlebar, handlebar, wheel to wheel. Not tonight. Jeremy's gone.
Here in the early going, Jeremy McGrath with a 5-second lead already.
He likes the racetrack, and when Jeremy is comfortable, Jeremy is very difficult to deal with. LaRocco, again, just that couple of laps that he had to catch up, and that was the key. Here's Henry on the move.
Henry getting past Craig in a battle for fourth.
And right behind him, we get glimpses of number 3, Kedrowski, playing the catch-up game, the Kawasaki catch-up game that's been the story of their season.
Behind Kedrowski, number 11, Larry Ward, and number 17, Ezra Lusk. Lusk, after winning the 125 East Championship, doing well in the 250s.
That's a good run for Ezra. This is fast company. These are the guys he'll have to race next year. Good start for him.
Craig, Kedrowski, and there's Henry in front of them.
See how Kedrowski came a little short on the landing there, caught the front wheel. A little bitty mistake that cost you the opportunity to go ahead and finish the pass in the next corner. You want to hit that landing clean, keep your momentum, get the bike turned as you're coming down, and he lost that opportunity, so he's still stuck behind Craig.
Looking back at this year's results, this is probably not your ultimate track for Kedrowski.
It's pretty tight, pretty technical. Kedrowski has done better where there's more room, most notably at Daytona, where he's won 2 in a row.
Henry still holding down 4th position as everyone else is hounding him from behind. LaRocco right in front, you see number 7.
Pretty tight battle here for the positions from 2nd on back. Here's Kedrowski finally making that move on Craig. The amazing thing about this race is the gap from 1st to 2nd.
And so far, the 3rd and 4th positions have not been able to pick up on Jeff Matasevich in 2nd. We'll be back after this word. From Las Vegas, this really is the battle for 2nd place, with Jeff Matasevich, number 21, and Mike LaRocco, number 7, putting on the heat on the chicken.
LaRocco definitely the man on the move. Ooh, nice pass. Just move Matasevich out of the way. A little bit of contact, but nothing Jeff will be mad about. Got the rear wheel into him just a little bit to kind of make sure that Matasevich didn't have a chance to retaliate.
It'll be interesting to see who can hold up under the heat. Jeremy McGrath, incidentally, out in front, a long way away from LaRocco. He's in double digits, in fact, as far as seconds are concerned.
He's piling up about 1.5 seconds a lap in interval. Now, the question is, LaRocco, having gotten through the traffic and into 2nd, can he get some of that interval back? It seems very, very difficult. That's a huge gap, but LaRocco's been the fastest guy out there a lot of times this year.
It'll be tough to make up the time of the whoops on this track. And it's not a very long straight track to gain any terrific speed on a straightaway.
See how quickly, though, LaRocco's pulling away from Matasevich. So he's got speed. I just don't think he's got the kind of speed it'll take to catch Jeremy. In fact, I'm not sure that Superman in full flight can catch Jeremy tonight.
Henry is in back of Matasevich in 4th spot. And coming into the picture now, Mike Kedrowski in 5th.
Another little bobble for Kedrowski as we go up to Jeremy McGrath and watch the leader's style around here. Let's hear from Jerry Bernardo with Skip Norfolk.
Did you just say plus 14 on Mike LaRocco?
Yeah, right now things are going good. He's got really good lines out there. You know, he's been wanting to do this all year long, and it's really good that he's finally got a chance to go out there and dominate like he did last year. Right now he's pumped. Things are going good. And it's been a difficult year, a tough year mentally, but this is letting it go. He's having fun right now.
While Jeremy's having fun, Henry wants a little bit of the action. He's taking on the chicken, Jeff Matasevich, number 21. They're over the locker room, coming off the Kamikaze Jump right now. Henry, wheel to wheel with Matasevich, has got the inside.
What a terrific race. Matasevich will come right back, try to retaliate. I don't think so. Henry looks like he has the speed. He can see LaRocco bobbling and wobbling around, but then Henry does an imitation of that and loses the spot back.
Matasevich, very smooth on the inside, taking advantage of Henry's bobble. Henry does the triple, but Matasevich still has the room.
And Kedrowski right there at the back end of the freight train, like the caboose, pushing on Henry, trying to get him around Matasevich, or better yet, try to pass them both. Here comes Kedrowski's move.
Nice and successful for MK as now he takes on Matasevich.
It's a terrific race for the position, which is third. Not so terrific at the moment for Henry, who took his shot and is now backing up.
Matasevich in third, but here comes Kudrowski. Kudrowski to the inside, took over the position. We'll be back. Nearing the end of the final race of the season here in Las Vegas, Nevada for the 250 Supercross, Jeff Emig. And on his trail is number 11, Larry Ward, who's racing for the top privateer honors on the season.
And Larry doesn't know it yet, but there's an extra $5,000 for the top privateer. That money in memory of C.E. Altman, one of the series pioneers, going to be called the Good Neighbor Award, because that was C.E.'s reference to all of his friends. In fact, everybody he met in this game. He passed away earlier this season, and in his memory, there's going to be a $5,000 check for Larry Ward. He'll be a happy camper over that.
Should he finish in this position, he'll finish 9th, and that would put him 8th in the points race as a privateer.
That's Ezra Lusk he's racing with, and you know, I would say this is probably a pretty good finish for him, racing for 8th spot on the 250. I'm sure that because he's not racing for the lead, he wouldn't agree with that. He's that kind of competitor.
Lusk already with a 9th place finish in San Jose. Would just love to have another top 10 finish before this season ends.
He's going to have a terrific year. Right behind them comes Steve Lampson, and what a charge he's made, Art.
This might have been the best race of the evening as far as Lampson is concerned, because we mentioned earlier, of course, that he was a long way back in last place during the first lap. He got a very, very poor start, and he has already moved up and passed Larry Ward.
Let's see, that's going to put him up as he works on Lusk. That'll put him up into 8th spot, perhaps 7th by the end. That's terrific to make those kinds of passes on this kind of racetrack.
Well, he was able to focus, and meanwhile, out in front, Jeremy McGrath. McGrath, the fastest qualifier. It's been 7 events since a rider has won a race and was the fastest qualifier. So there's $7,000 in the pot for the Silver Bullet Award that's built up. Jeremy already winning $7,000 for that award previous to this time. So if he wins this race, he could walk off with $14,000. Few extra change.
Not bad. He needs the money. There's Lampson making his pass on Lusk, and that's for 7th spot. No, Ezra comes right back at him. Lampson made a little mistake there.
And Lampson zeroes it on him off the Kamikaze Jump. Good race by these two lads.
A terrific charge for Steve Lampson. That's the way you like to end the season. Well, not in 7th spot, but you like to end with a great ride. Gives you momentum into the off year. To come from as far back as he did to run 7th is a terrific performance.
Mike LaRocco is not picking up any space with Jeremy McGrath out in front of him.
Not gaining a bit. The interval is well over 15 seconds. LaRocco just doesn't seem to be able to do that patented LaRocco charge. We've seen him run Jeremy down this year. He can't do it tonight. McGrath is really performing miracles out there.
Well, I wonder if it's the heat or maybe a mechanical type situation that's holding him back.
We'll have to wait till after the race to find out the answer to that. I'm curious about what Stiff Norfolk said. A tough season mentally for Jeremy McGrath. He wins 9 out of 15 races, his 2nd consecutive championship. He's 22 years old. I'm not sure I understand the mentally tough part. Is it adding up the money? Is that the hard part of this?
And no one has done what Jeremy McGrath probably will do here with this huge lead, unless he gets another flat tire.
Not true.
And that is place at least in the top 10 in every race for 2 years and win 2 championships at the same time.
That's every Supercross race he's ever run in the 250 class. He's never been out of the top 10. What a guy.
Checkered flag for Jeremy McGrath. Mike LaRocco takes 2nd place, and in 2nd place in the season point standings, an extra 25 grand.
Mike Kudrowski had an outside shot at that money tonight, LaRocco's teammate, but he would have had to make up 14 points on LaRocco this evening. That would have been difficult under any circumstance. Certainly tough when LaRocco runs a solid 2nd, as he did here this evening.
Mike Kudrowski will coast across the finish line in 3rd. As we take a look at Jeremy McGrath.
Sweat time, not show time.
Jeremy McGrath, his 9th victory of the year, followed by LaRocco. Kudrowski, an impressive top finish for this season for Jeff Matasevich. Doug Henry never out of the top 5. As far as rounding out the top 10 is concerned, Look at Steve Lampson, 7th after being last in the first lap. Let's go to Jerry.
We're looking up to the king, Jeremy McGrath, going out with a bang, round 15. 15 seconds on second place, Mike LaRocco.
Well, you know, this is the longest winning streak that I haven't won, and I definitely wanted to prove a point. Hold on, I'm getting lightheaded. I want to sit down.
Okay. That's cool. That makes for good TV. I'll fill in while you're taking a little break. I'll say, you told me you wanted to win. I knew you wanted to win. There's a lot of stuff on the line like prestige, but let's talk about that $7,000 for the Coors Light Super Challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Coors Light gave me a great present this time.
That's for sure.
You know, actually, I earned it, but I think that might be another record. I don't think anyone's ever won all the Coors Light money, and I just did.
Yeah. What are you going to do with all that cake?
I don't know.
Something?
First, I'll put it in the bank, then I'll probably spend it.
We are in Vegas. You're not going to do anything stupid tonight after the race, are you?
No, I already brought my allotment for money, and I'm doing all right, so I'm sure going to gamble. I know that.
Okay, you were really railing out there. I mean, you really had a big, big lead. How did it feel? You were confident. We saw the knack-knack on the end, but how'd you feel out front with that big lead?
Well, I knew I'd get a little bit winded, so, you know, I just worked as hard as I could for the first as many laps as I could, and my mouth was totally dry. And, you know, he wasn't catching me. I was putting in some good laps, and actually I was pulling on him, so I was happy with that, and I just wanted to keep up the pace as long as I could. Last 2 laps, I slowed down a little bit.
The superstar who didn't come to Las Vegas to coast, even though he had the title secured. And making Lampson 4th and 5th on the year.
Mike LaRocco put on a good show. You got that same look every week we talk about this stuff. You have 3 hats in your hand. Which one are you going to wear? Start out with the Scott?
I'll start with I know you can for $7,000. I'll start with 2. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
How'd that race go for you?
Not as well as I liked. You know, I got out to a mediocre start, and I didn't get through the pack like I needed to, and it took a little out of me, and I just didn't have the, you know, the bonsai mode to catch up and win this one.
Okay, we know that you're one of the psycho trainers on the circuit. You, Kudrowski, you guys train big time. That help you out, even though you couldn't make any sort of charge on Jeremy?
Yeah, I think so. Just because we didn't have, you know, I had no timing the first half of the race, and I could say, you know, no energy. So I'm sure if I didn't have it, I'd been a lot worse.
Okay, it's the end of the year, 15th round. You got 3 under your belt. You would have done. I know that you would have liked to have done a lot better, but did you have fun this year anyhow?
Well, it's the best year. I mean, last year I got 12th in the standings. This year 2nd, and you know, if I can increase any more, hopefully 1st.
All right, thank you.
There's a picture that sums up the entire season. Jeremy McGrath on top, dominant this year. The Kawasaki's fighting through the traffic, coming up 2nd and 3rd. They're going to be trying to reel him in 1995.
And he leaves Las Vegas with over $90,000, not to mention the share of the winner's purse, and, of course, his contract as a factory rider with Honda. Our sincere thanks to the AMA, the track builders, and, of course, the promoters group for making Supercross possible. Art Ekman, for Dave Despain and Jerry Bernardo saying thank you so much for being with us this year.